Hey everyone, good morning. This is the next video in the modding Minecraft tutorial. And what we've done so far is we've installed a bunch of tools, and that took a while. And then we got everyone doing that, and then we got Minecraft actually running in IntelliJ, and that took a little bit of time. And yesterday we actually got to write our first little bit of code dealing with the Minecraft mod, and so that was cool because I got everyone actually working with modding Minecraft, and it took quite a bit of time. And so here we are on the last day of camp, and there's a whole lot of things that could be done as far as modding goes. I mean, it's kind of like an infinite world of what you could do. There's so many things that you could do, but in a 5 day camp, um, what we're able to accomplish is maybe not as much as we would like, simply because it just takes a while. It's not something that you can just do in an hour. It just takes a lot of work. Anyways, the next thing that we're going to do, and what this video is all about, is making a block. And so we're going to make a custom modded block. And I'm going to jump in and get into the code. Now I'm just going to go ahead and kind of close everything. If you're watching the recording, let me close everything down and kind of start. If you remember here, everything's in source, main, and then there's Java and resources. And then from within there, a whole bunch of folders that we're working with. And so I'll try and keep everything organized in these folders. The first file that we're going to write today is inside of the core init folder. So if you remember, core init was under Java, and then you got your example mod, and then you got core init. And inside of core init, there's only one item, which is called init item. And so we're going to make another, we're going to right click core.init, new Java class. So the first thing we're going to do this morning is make a new Java class inside of this folder. And this is going to be called capital B for block, capital I for the init. Block, capital B, init, capital I, hit enter, and it creates a block init.java. And in the block init, I'm going to give you the source code for block init. And if you actually kind of come in here, there's some settings that you can kind of see that we can harvest this with the pickaxe, its harvest level, the sound that it makes, right? There's actually some settings that you can kind of say, okay, tool type dot, and you can see some different options here. I'm going to keep it to pickaxe, right? But keep in mind, as you start experimenting with this, we can kind of get into the code here and make some changes. Now, this is giving me an error, and I can fix this. I'm going to change this to there we go. So that should fix that. If I do a quick build. It says unused import statements. Actually, we don't need that line, which is totally fine. Let's scroll over here. And this is, there we go. That fixes that. And before I give you this code, I'll fix the little pieces here. And just from the old build, let's do another build. Okay, we're good now. We got the green check mark. So I'm going to give this to you in your block init.
Mr. Evan, your mic is muted.
Sorry about that, guys. You'll hear me on the recording. Thank you for pointing that out. I've been talking, but I've been muted. So you'll hear me on the recording when I get this on. YouTube. Let me open up Discord. I'm gonna go into the block, the code chunks. This is gonna be block init.java. Cool. So there's block init. So again, you might not have heard me, but all I've done so far is I've created one new class inside of the core init folder. It's called block init. I gave you the code that we're going to use and cleaned it up just a little bit. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our tutorial mod, and we have to add an import. And so everyone has to do this. Core init block init. Okay, so this is one line that you will have to add at the top of your tutorial mod. So step one is create your block init. Step two is go to your tutorial mod.java and add this import statement at the top. And by doing that, that allows us to go into our tutorial mod, and underneath the items init.items, we're going to add this line of code here. So this is a new line of code that I just put into my tutorial mod underneath the items init.items register bus. We got block init.blocks register bus. Okay, so that's all that we need to do to our example mod. So again, step one, create the block init. Step two, we got two lines of code to add to our tutorial mod source code. Now let's go into step number three, which is item init. So I'm going to close this down. I'm going to go into item init. I'm going to add an import statement, net Minecraft item block item, capital block, capital I. And I'm going to add these couple lines of code. Now I need to make this available to you. So what I'm going to do, what I'll ask you to do on your video, is I'm going to update the item init source code. So I'm going to scroll up and click on the edit and paste. So if you go into Discord, you'll see item init and I'll say updated. Whoops. Let me cancel that. So item init needs to now say updated. Item init source code updated, dot dot, updated, dot dot. So what you'll see here is in Discord, and I'll share this on my screen so you guys can see, item init has been updated. And if you kind of scroll down, what I updated it with is this line right here. Okay, so you can go back into your item init and update it appropriately. If you really want to type it out, you could type it out. I would avoid typing it out because it's just a lot to type, and the odds of typo are pretty high. Okay. So already, if we think about what we've done, we created block init. We have updated our tutorial mod, and we have updated item init. So those are the three things that we've done so far. Okay, couple more to go. I am going to create a new JSON file. This one is going to be under assets, tutorial. And what I need to do here is create another folder under assets tutorial called block states. Right click, new package. This will be block states. Again, making sure to spell block states appropriately. And in here, we're going to create a new file inside of block states. It's going to be called example block.json.json. Paste it. Okay. Let me make that code available in Discord. Code chunks. All right. So that's example block.json. Now let me look at our lang. I think our lang's already been updated. I went ahead and put everything in the lang that I thought we were going to need. So here's our example block, and I'll call this Evan's awesome block. So you can change whatever the block says inside of your lang, the en_us.json. So this is our block tutorial example block, Evan's awesome block. Good. Inside of our models, we're going to create a new, let's see, there's models.item. So instead of models.item, we're going to right click tutorial, say new package. This will be models dot block. So again, I right click the assets.tutorial and I create a models.block. So now under models, there's models item and there's models block. Under models.block, we're going to right click and create an example block.json. So new file, example block.json. One second here. So one example block.json is in the block states. Example block.json inside of block, inside of your block states folder. So not to confuse you, but here's an example block.json inside of one folder. This example block is inside of the models block folder. So two files with the same name, just in different folders. So I'm going to go ahead and put this code inside of the models block example block.json and put that in Discord. Awesome, we are getting there. You can see this is quite a bit of work, quite a bit of code that goes into making a block. Okay, now inside of the item, we're going to create another new file. This is our third example underscore block.json. This one is inside of item. And if I look at this code, let's change it to that. So third time's a charm in Discord. Example block.json inside of models slash item folder. Almost done. Last thing to do is actually get the texture. And so what texture do I want? I have a texture and I can kind of toy with this, but let me kind of show you my texture. And this is my texture. It's a pretty simple texture. It's a small image. I will right click save image as, and I can show you how to go to Google and get a texture. You will notice it does need to be a PNG, and I'm going to name it example underscore block. You should do the same. The name of your PNG should be example underscore block. Now this texture can be different things, but the name of it should be example underscore block.png. Okay. Going to save this though. I have to save this in a specific place, which is textures slash blocks. And so what I need to do, let me collapse. Here's textures.items. I need to create a new directory called textures.blocks. So let's go ahead and do that. right click assets, tutorial, new package, textures dot blocks. So there's a folder under textures called blocks, and that's actually going to be where we're going to save our image to. So I'm going to right click, save image as. Instead of textures.items now, I can save it to textures.block. It's called example block.png. Make sure that's the name of the file. Let's click save. Example block.png. Okay. When writing code, I always jokingly say, let's see what I broke this time. So that should be the end of the code. I more than likely made a mistake as a human being. I make mistakes. There's a chance that I didn't, and it'll work the first time. Um, Otherwise, I'm going to troubleshoot it and fix it. But again, maybe there's a chance that I got it working. Now this block is going to be in our miscellaneous tab, just like we did last time. We put our item under miscellaneous.
Wait a second. Was I supposed to name it models block or model dot?
So the question that came in was model or models, and so we've got models plural.
Okay, thank you. I just realized I probably had a typo. And I'm getting all these error messages.
That's okay, we'll work through them.
Okay then.
Okay, so my mods are loaded. I think I can just join a world that I've already created. So if I go back into miscellaneous. Yeah, I thought that I did that pretty quick to be able to. Oh, there it is. It's actually under blocks. Silly me. There's Evan's awesome block. Wasn't under miscellaneous. So
The
yay.
texture is done.
That's the texture that I chose. And let me full screen it so you can maybe see a little better. And then I'm gonna toy with it just for a little bit. So there's Evan's awesome block. And I can build with it. And we have now modded a block into the game. And so here's what the texture looks like. It's not much.
It actually looks pretty cool, though.
I'm glad you appreciate it.
How do you change the texture of a block?
So the way that you actually change the texture of the block is by changing the image. So you'll notice inside of main, resources, assets, tutorial, let's see, textures, blocks. So I have this file called example block, and this is the file. It's a real small image, and you can see that. Now, one thing worth noting, if I right click and edit, I want to show you the file size on this. If I resize pixels, this is a 16 by 16 picture. It is a very small picture, 16 pixels by 16 pixels. So when you download something off of Google, what I don't know is if you download a big picture, like yesterday we downloaded a big picture, like that heart was 800 by 800. This is only 16 by 16. Minecraft might have a requirement that your block pixels have to be small, like 16 by 16. And so because, again, I'm not sure of the requirements, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to Google Um, what did I do? I did a basketball theme yesterday, so um, I don't know, basketball floor tiles. I go images, and I'm trying to think of like something that would look good. But under images, let me see if I click on tools and I go to size and I say maybe icon, because icons are going to be really small. Um, I don't know, maybe this would look good. I'm trying to imagine. And let me see, says tennis court. Maybe this, Denver Nuggets, I don't know. This is 96 by 96, you see that? So I can right click, save image as, and what I'm actually going to do, textures, block, oh, it's a JPEG, I need PNG. Keep in mind, it's got to be the file type PNG. Um, oh, that could be okay. This is kind of what I'm thinking of. So I'm going to right click, save image as, and I'm going to call it example block.png. So I'm just going to overwrite the file that's there. So I'm going to replace it, yes. So I'm overwriting the picture. You have to have that name, example block.png. Let me look at it now. So if I go into here, click source, main, resources, assets, tutorial, textures, blocks. Okay, I'm gonna right click and edit. I don't want this extra white space, so I'm just gonna do something like this. Hang with me here. You don't have to do any of this. I'm just trying to get something looking like a wood floor. So if I crop that, do a save. Okay, now if I look at resize pixels, it was pretty small. I believe it was 16 by 16. So if I change this, I have to uncheck that box. 16 by 16, let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's pretty small. That's what I'm looking for. So again, you can kind of follow the steps to resize your image. It's a pretty small texture, but that's what I think it has to be. Now let me go ahead and run Minecraft again. And I kind of have a block that looks like a basketball um, wooded floor.
I know just what to look for. I'm going to search up Beskar phone cases.
Yeah, that's cool. Just keep in mind there might be, I don't know if you have a big image that it's going to work. You have to have a small image. And so you might have to resize, right? So I showed you how to resize. That might be a requirement. Um, Resize the image to that smaller 16 pixels wide by 16 pixels tall. That's my assumption. I don't know about that, but let's just check it out. Okay, single player, new world. There we go. We got Evan's awesome block, and it's the wood texture. Go ahead and make our basketball court, and then throw the basketball on it. I just got to get you know, some goals and things like that. We are on our way. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna stop the video
Cool.
here and let you guys get to work and get this on YouTube.
Cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going